Welcome to the Recap Book Chat. We are a mother and daughter duo
conversing about books over a cup of joe.
seeking truth to help us glow.
Ready, set, let's grow!
And welcome back to the Recap Book Chat. Today we are diving into Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis.
So this is book number 5 in the series of the Chronicles of Narnia.
An interesting little tidbit about C.S. Lewis is he was actually friends with J.R.R. Tolkien, who ended up writing Lord of the Rings, and they would meet together weekly and discuss their books.
And you're reading J.R. Tolkien, and
Yes,
we finished
I am.
reading it. So that's they go good together. Good connection.
We've read Chronicles of Narnia, and currently I'm reading Lord of the Rings, and it's amazing how these two different authors actually talk together, and
They helped each other.
yeah,
They did ideas, and
Actually, that's probably why these books are so good. Added those ideas around back and forth, and I think that's probably why they haven't been matched by any current ones. I don't think. I mean, they're pretty deep writing.
Yeah, and they kind of are similar. Like, they're both fiction, and they both kind of have they're both in a different kind of world a little bit. So I mean,
fantasy.
yeah, they're.
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny quote just to start us out. There was a boy called Eustace Clarence Scrubb, and he almost deserved it.
I told so when we do those sketch notes, we draw pictures and stuff, and we kind of make up the title. Well, my title was Eustace the Useless.
Oh, yeah. What made him useless?
I think what made him really kind of useless is he was always in the way. I wouldn't say a punk, but a rich kind of punk.
Prideful.
Prideful. That's a good word.
And full of him. Yeah, he was full of himself.
Very prideful.
Well, and in the Bible, it tells when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, what did they do? They complained all the time, right? And does God like complaining?
No.
No, because that's ungrateful to complain. And man, Eustace, woo, he complained a lot.
And this is actually the only book in the series that does not actually take place in Narnia. It is on a voyage, and it's Narnia.
Yeah.
Yes, with Prince Caspian. So who wants to give us kind of the 10,000 foot summary of Voyage of the Dawn Treader?
10,000 foot. I'm not gonna say 10,000 things.
I'm saying that means you're looking kind of a summary. Go ahead, Titus.
10,000 feet down.
So, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Eustace and his cousins Edmund and Lucy are swept away in a magical voyage on a good pirate ship called the Dawn Treader, which is where the book gets its name, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Mm-hmm. And in this voyage, it actually helps characters physically and mentally. It
he is in the Caspian. He has built this for the voyage to find the 7 lords, right?
The Caspian's the current king of Narnia.
Yeah, the 7 lords, good men, whom his evil uncle banished when he usurped the throne. And I thought that was interesting that, yeah, I did not ever catch that, Kate, that you said it's the only book in the series that didn't take place in Narnia.
And guess what?
I didn't catch it either. We saw that on a guide which shout out, it's called I wrote it down.
Into the Wardrobe.
Into the Wardrobe. Definitely check out his YouTube channel if you like C.S. Lewis. He dives into
Like,
very interesting. Wait, we'll get into that. Hold on. We gotta get the summary. We have to get the summary.
Wait a minute. Something right.
So finish the summary. So Edmund, Lucy, and Eustace are magically thrust into the ocean and are picked up by Prince Caspian, and they're on this voyage to go find these 7 lost lords. So then what happens, Status?
So they end up going to Dragon Island. They end up going to a huge cloud of fog, which we'll get to that later. And
we'll get to that
one
later.
One of the first places they go to is the Lonely Islands, which is where they're almost sold into slavery. And
well, technically they were sold into slavery, but they got out of it. They were in slavery.
That's true.
Slavery.
Yeah, but they were almost sold.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I had a note that Caspian's poor judgment put the crew in danger, but he cleverly solves the problem. He put them in danger.
They also found Lord Byrne.
Yeah, so there's a reason.
So they continue on, and they go through. Each stop is a trial of some sort, and usually at each new location, they discover either the remnants of a lord or the actual lord themselves.
And where does Reepicheep come in?
Oh, he comes in.
So, go ahead, Jonah.
He hates him. And I bet you would too now.
Well, yeah, I don't mind reading about him, but my thing. I'm like,
if he was on top of you.
But out of mice, I feel like he's the best one.
He's one of the bravest because everyone's like, no, let's turn back. But he's just like, let's go, adventure.
He's very noble. He has the bravest one of them, which is interesting.
That's what I said. He's the bravest one. When someone kind of cowered out, and don't want to do it, he still wants to do it. He takes everything as an adventure.
Which one of my C.S. Lewis might have done that on purpose. Take a little mousy creature and give them bravery.
Usually, the little ones like, I can't do this too hard. But they made it where he was he wanted
one of the traits of Reepicheep is he always gets offended when anyone gets to the level of, oh, he's so cute, I want to pet him. He thinks he calls himself a knight for Aslan and thinks he's all that in a bag of chips.
Well, he is. I mean, he can kill a lot of people with his little sword.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah,
he's a warrior.
That connects with a book by Avi called Poppy. And Poppy is a little field mouse and a little golden mouse, and she has a porcupine quill, and she fights a great horned owl. Quite the battle.
That's a great connection.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Never heard of it.
So what happens to Eustace? Let's talk about Eustace.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Good. Thank you, Jen.
So if you don't want to spoil it, then just stick this part probably about 30 seconds or so. So Eustace, you might think, well, something's gonna go bad for him. And if you said that, then you're correct. Something does go bad. He turns into a dragon. And the reason why is because of pride.
And most people
when they land on it's called Dragon Island. So they land on Dragon Island, and and what happened is they're kind of rebuilding their boat. Some pieces kind of fell off. They just came out of a 3-day storm, so they have to rebuild. Where Eustace, of course, he's gonna get out of it. So he tries to get out of it, but he stumbles upon a dead lion's cave, and he goes into it, and of course, in every fantasy book, what does the dragon like? Gold, obvious. So he went and he found gold and he tried to take some, but he turned into a dragon.
And most people who read this book might think it's a greed problem. Oh, he wanted gold. That's greed. Well, actually, it ends up becoming a pride problem because with Eustace, he's very a prideful person, and he's I should say he thinks his pride is his protection. And therefore, pride ended up getting him turned into a dragon rather than what we thought greed would have.
On the surface you see greed, but really, and again, if you watch that Into the Wardrobe, he helped us kind of dig out some of these hidden things in there. Eustace, the thick skin of a dragon is kind of like how we self-protect. We put up walls.
Yeah.
The dragon on the outside, it
was like him on the inside.
In the book, Eustace's scales on his insides became his scales on his outsides when he became a dragon.
I thought it was interesting how he can take off the scales. He can just take them off like taking off a mask or something, but they come right back on. So that kind of tells me unless the heart is changed, you can't really change.
Yeah. And Aslan in the book. Yeah. In the book, Aslan had to rip the scales off him.
With pain, right? Yeah.
But then it was a permanent change.
So it's funny that because I had also started reading this right here. It's called The Dragon of Lonely Island, and it kind of went with the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. A lot of these books,
is it by C.S. Lewis?
No, it's by Rebecca Rupp. But I was just thinking a dragon is a cool character when you put them in there because they're forceful, they're big, and but in this one, actually, the bad can be good. Have you ever known that sometimes something bad, you think the dragon is bad when that happens to Eustace, but
it actually changed him.
Yep.
He became
so I think
ugly.
When we go through bad things, can it change us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And that's my favorite part with Reepicheep, going back to him, because Eustace hated him. But he's coming from, he's never been around Narnia before. He just wants to go home and
he's freaked out.
But so he said some really rude things to Reepicheep. But when he becomes a dragon, there's a point, he's just sad and he has this thing stuck on his arm and he has tears and and he couldn't sleep. And Reepicheep goes over and sits up the night with him, just telling him stories and talking to him. And I'm just like, what a good picture of forgiveness for one thing, but also being a good friend to someone who needed a friend.
Yeah, because it's like, no one's gonna be nice to him, honestly. Because like all he's been through, he's the rude one. But then here comes Reepicheep, that's shows forgiveness.
It does. And that's how we should be.
A lot of forgiveness.
No matter what. Yeah. And this was a quote that said, he had turned into a dragon while he was asleep, sleeping on a dragon's hoard with greedy, dragonish thoughts in his heart. He had become a dragon himself. And I think what C.S. Lewis did there is take the inside. He just turned Eustace inside out. So you did see his heart.
Something I would like to say is C.S. Lewis does a phenomenal job at putting in morals to each part. There's even hidden morals that he puts in with each of the 7 lords.
Yeah, every one of them has their name means something. Mm-hmm. Every name. But then here's another fact. So you know how there's 7 lords?
Mm-hmm.
That you know what that represents?
Well, 7's a perfect number in the Bible.
7 sins.
Oh, wow.
And then
it was actually 8.
8.
There was 7 lords, but this is cool.
Lucy.
If you break down their journey, the voyage, they have 8 trials they face on these 8 different things. So let's just start with Lord Byrne. The first one that they come upon. Byrne, the name Byrne meant warrior. So he was supposed to be a warrior, but he gave up and he just stayed at this one island. So on the outside, we thought, that sounds good. He just decided to not go any further, but that's not what his purpose was. And so what is the sin that goes with that?
The sin that goes
for-
with that is comfort. He abandoned his
Task.
job.
because he's
he
supposed
abandoned
to be
his
warrior,
job for
protect his
comfort.
kingdom. My bad.
Lord Byrne quit his job for comfort, which most of the times that's kind of what we want to do, and one of the deadly sins is comfort, going to comfort, being lazy.
Lazy.
What about Lord Octazon? What does his name? Break his name down.
So
What does
Lord-
Oct mean?
Oct
so this is a
means
cool name.
8.
Yeah, so it's 8. I mean, it's not a cool name, but do you know what the other part means?
Tell us.
Xavius?
Eason.
Eason. It means one who practices. So his name literally means one who practices 8, and we think it means one who practices 8 sins.
Well, it's the 8th sin, which was
The 8 sins.
pride. Oh, this was another interesting fact. So C.S. Lewis was a medievalist, which I didn't know this about him. Very interested in medieval times. And we all know the 7 deadly sins. So people have tried to put this into the 7 deadly sins, but it didn't quite fit. There's always something that you're just like, Well, this one guy that we watched, he said it's because C.S. Lewis was a medievalist. And so if you go back 4th century monk, I can't remember his name, but this was before the 7 deadly sins was popularized. He had 8, and he called them 8 evil thoughts or 8 temptations. And the 8th one was pride. So C.S. Lewis does a lot, like, it's not just a weird name he made up. It is a name with meaning that points to a deeper moral.
That's the thing about C.S. Lewis, is that he can take, like, random names, 2 totally different words, and combine them to make him a meaning of something that you would never guess. And when we read this book, before we watched the video, we had no idea. Like, we didn't know anything about these guys. Like, we didn't know what their names were. We just thought they were random names he made up, but no.
Another interesting fact about this lord, he had, well, spoiler alert, he turned into a dragon just like Eustace had, but the difference was he never turned back to a human and he died as a dragon.
Because he was prideful, and he didn't think he needed Aslan to turn back to himself. So, like, almost that entire time, he just tried to do it by himself, but he couldn't. We can't do it by ourselves.
I didn't think of that, Titus. That's true. He never turned back.
That's like when on our Christian walk, we can't do it by ourselves. We can't do it. We have to have God's help, right?
Yeah.
I have a good quote from Aslan. It said, "I am the great bridge builder."
And
I thought
that's
that was great.
exactly. And do you know what Aslan represents?
What?
He represents Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Because
is Jesus a bridge builder?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to do a podcast on the first one. We probably did. Well, anyway, so in the first one, when like Jesus' crucifixion, he also kind of got crucified, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then, he rose again, and they saw him exactly. And that's another cool thing about C.S. Lewis, is that he's like very good at representation. Like, he represents like a lot of things,
Allegorical.
Yeah, that's what
that deeper hidden meaning. That's true. Good point. What about Lord Roop?
Who?
Or I'm sorry, I skipped over Restamere.
Lord Restamere.
He was sorrow.
No.
Lord
Pride? Greed?
No.
I got it.
Gluttony.
Greed.
Okay, so
he was the one.
Cut that part out.
In one of the islands, there's a pool, and whatever touches this water turns instantly to gold. And
yeah,
this Lord Restamere, he was found at the bottom of the pool, turned into solid gold. And we're like, what does that have to do with greed? Well, greed is Edmund had left with golden boots and some golden trinkets that had accidentally hit the water. Well, we don't see no problem in this water. I mean, it's not evil, because obviously Edmund got some free gold, but the thing is, you could get too carried away and try to dip everything you can see in the pool into gold, and you might dip something too heavy, and then you end up falling in. And that's symbolic of falling into temptation when you fall into the water.
That's
you know,
good.
that connects with Midas touch. And he was a king that wanted everything to be gold, and that's I guess he was King Midas, and he touched everything. But then when he touched his daughter, he turned her into gold. So, see, yeah, greed. Sometimes it's or if everything was gold and you touch a big juicy cheeseburger, you want to eat it, and then you touch it, what does it become? Gold.
Solid gold.
That delicious cheeseburger.
You know what Midas should have said? He should have said, anything I touch with my pinky turns to gold. Then he could eat it like this.
That's a good idea, because then you can go.
He was not very smart.
That's why people drink like that, then, right?
Well, maybe you ought to rewrite that story. You could save King Midas a lot of trouble.
Hey, you can wish again. This time just wish for your pinky to touch it.
What about Lord Roop?
Oh.
Lord Roop was rescued from where, Jonah?
The clouds. Dark. Very dark.
The darkness.
And the
Complete
thing
darkness.
is that
And
whatever goes in there, your darkest dream actually comes real. And he was in there for a very long time. So he was pretty much living his darkest
year about.
And
And
7 years or longer.
You might be very curious of the sin that Lord Roop had. And his sin is it was a very hard one. So there's between the two. It could have been envy, because some people said they saw like figures when their darkest dreams came true. They saw figures, and envy would be wanting what someone else has. And yeah, but one of the most ones that stands out in Lord Roop is sorrow or despair that would lead you to having these hallucinations in the fog that indicates shadow figures or your darkest dreams.
Yeah.
And keeps you in despair. And that was one that the monk from the 4th century had in his list that usually doesn't make it in the 7 deadly sins later on in history. But that was interesting, sorrow and despair, because that did fit with what was going on more so than envy. Mm-hmm. But you could make envy fit, but really more so would be Lord Roop was just he was in such despair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like,
that would be your worst dream for years, then you're living it out. That would be pretty bad.
Terrible. I would.
And now we have 3 lords left and 1 extra person left who is on the voyage. But we'll get to that person last. So Lord Magror.
Maramorn. So
when the Voyage of the Dawn Treader landed on one of the islands, there was a table called Aslan's table, and it was filled with food, very delicious food. Well, at the very end, there were 3 people: Lord Magrove,
Maramorn, or something like that.
Lord Maramor, Lord Aragaz.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Aragaz.
And Revelin, or something like that.
Yeah, and Lord Revelin. And you see, Lord Maramor, he had to deal with gluttony. And we see that as in the book, he says, "More mustard, please." So,
because they try to wake them up at first, but they're in a deep sleep because of a spell.
And every time when they try to wake them up, they each say something. And when they try to wake up Lord Maramor, he says, "Mustard, please."
Mustard, please.
What do they, Jonah? Since you're wanting to talk, honey, you're talking over everybody. What did Lord Revelin say when they woke him up?
I didn't write it down.
What about the other one?
He said something about like he wanted to return home. And it's like, he didn't want to return home. He didn't want to finish the thing.
Well, I have a question. So these were, because I read this in 2024. So I've waited this long to talk about it with you guys. So were they good lords or bad lords? Because my little write-up, I put good men whom his evil uncle banished.
Well, what I think is I think it symbolizes all kind of the Israel kings. Not all of them, but some of them started out really good, but did they finish good? No. A lot of them did not finish good. And that's what it kind of ended up. They all kind of finished not really good.
Okay. Gladys, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on these three kings are Lord Revenue, right?
I mean, were overall, were they good
The whole
or
book.
were they bad?
Okay. I think they started out good. They had good principles. They had a good mission, but they fell into temptation. They fell into comfort, pride, greed, gluttony, sorrow, wrath, and sloth. And all of these temptations ended up getting the best of them. And just like Lord Rethamore, they fell into temptation.
So what do you think C.S. Lewis is the message maybe he is trying to convey to his readers? The kids that read his book, what do you think he was hoping for?
I think he was hoping for for all the books. In all of the books, he has hoped for, because Aslan represents Jesus, and whatever Aslan says is
true.
probably
The truth.
Yeah, it's usually truth, and it ends up helping them. So I think the message is that when we look to Jesus, he will help us. And we can't do anything on our own.
Yeah.
Jonah, could Lord Roop get out? Could Lord Roop get out of that fog by himself? Probably not. The Dawn Treader came and rescued him. Could could Eustace become a human by himself? No, he needed Aslan. And could the whole Voyage of the Dawn Treader run this whole operation by themselves? No, they needed each other. The rowers, even the people C.S. Lewis only mentioned once, like the rowers, all them, those guys were important. Everyone had a talent that ended up helping everyone. I think the main message is probably that you can't do everything on your own. You're gonna need help. You can't.
Maybe humility.
Yes, humility. The message is humility.
To go off of what you were saying, when you said that they couldn't get out of the fog, well, Lucy, she prayed to Aslan to help them get out, and Aslan sent a dove to come and pretty much show them the way. Because they were almost trapped in there. If they never had Aslan's help, then they would just be trapped in there. So.
And at one point, there was an albatross that circled the mast and whispered, "Courage, dear heart."
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. And I think maybe C.S. Lewis, he's writing, he was in the midst of World War II. He knew hard times were going to come on kids and grown-ups alike, because grown-ups like these books. Everybody likes these books. And I think it's that we can triumph over hard times. But like Jonah and you both said something very important. He said, we got to finish strong. And then you said, we've got to, I love what you guys, you said they're all working together. And, I think that's, sometimes we want to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
When your mom was little, she would always say, I do it myself, like that. And that means back off. But really, we need to work together.
Definitely.
Like you said, the rowers and everything. Everybody has. We have like the puzzle pieces that you put together. We have a part to play.
Yeah,
that's good. And I feel like too, another thing we could throw in the mix is that it's about the journey, not necessarily like the destination. Like the journey is, if you think about it, by the time everyone got back, Eustace was changed. I think they were all changed in some way, and they were better for the journey.
Yeah.
because they went through this. They went through trials, and they did keep looking for Aslan everywhere they went. So I think there's something to that about.
I agree.
It's about the journey, and we want to get to Aslan's country, and I think overcoming trials is part of that.
Mhm.
Definitely. I agree. I totally agree.
Well, that's how we really, okay, if you had to pick one word, guys, this is pretty hard. Think about it for just a minute. If you had to pick one word to describe the book, your mom makes me do that, so I thought that might be good for you.
So,
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I actually already thought about this. I think it's adventure.
Adventure?
That's a good word.
Oh, I have a quote with that one, Jonah. Adventures are never fun when you're having them. That was
Always in the end, you're like, you know what? That's fun. Let's do that again. That's yeah. Where did you get that quote?
from the book. That was from the book.
Oh, so that's so true because every time we go on an adventure, we're like, get me out of here. And then after we do it, we're just like, that was fun. We should do that again.
What about
But
you, Titus?
adventures are only fun if you know what you're going to expect. But if you know what you're going to expect, then it isn't an adventure.
No, the adventure is not expecting it. You don't know what to expect. That's the adventure.
Well, and most adventures are not. They're not comfortable. They're not easy. Like
That's why it's fun.
part of the adventure is things go wrong.
And that's the thing.
You gotta expect to not expect something. That's what you gotta do.
That's why he was on board. He wanted to have an adventure.
See, when you go on an adventure,
you have one word.
Yes, I actually do. Humility.
Oh, very good.
Good one.
When you go on an adventure, you gotta expect not to expect something.
And if you're humble, then you will take some help from people and listen and learn. Yes.
The adventure by yourself. I mean, yeah, maybe you can walk outside and walk a lap or something. I mean, I guess you can say that's adventure if you try not to get stickers or something. But
What about you, Nana?
Mine is transformation.
Ooh, that's good.
And that goes back to Eustace, basically, because we actually see that transformation take place. But, and there's a quote from Aslan where he said, "This is the reason why you were brought to Narnia, that by knowing me here for a little, you might come to know me better there." Well, that is a quote that kind of envelops transformation, which goes with the Bible. What about you, Kate?
Well, I went temptation.
Ooh.
Because every stop they face temptation. And we didn't get to the Duffelpud Island, which was a fun one actually, because they encounter these little creatures that are 1 foot and all of this, but that's really where Lucy was tempted. And she was tempted with the sin of vainglory because she didn't think she was pretty, and she's able to do this spell. And again, Aslan saves the day on that one. But I think it is a book about each stop there's a temptation.
Is that maybe you can explain this quote that I wrote down? It's so long ago, but what did I mean by this? You see, it's only they who think they were so nice to look at before. They say they've been uglified, but that isn't what I call it. Many people might say the change was for the better, and I put a smiley face. What does that mean?
Those are the Duffelpuds talking. Okay. So they were made into that whatever creature they are, because they had become so. And again, that just points to what C.S. Lewis was doing, showing that island was about vanity.
Yeah,
and
because Lucy wanted to look like her sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't think she was pretty, and so. But with Aslan, but they were able to leave that island, and apparently none of the lords were left on that island. But I think it's something that needs to be addressed as a temptation. Okay, so is there anything else you guys that you liked about the book? Anything that stuck with you? Anything that you want to share before we sign off?
I mean, I do think it's, we kind of have to be Edmund and Lucy, because they're when they hop on, they just kind of I mean, they kind of know what to expect, because it's always a thing, the first time you do it, you might not really know what to expect, but when you do it again, you know what to expect. So, I mean, like...
They don't really know what to expect, but they trust Aslan.
I mean...
So they don't have the fear.
Yeah, like they did in the first one. So, I mean, like, we all kind of have to trust God to make us get through it like they did.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point.
That would have been a good word, trust.
Ooh, yeah.
I didn't think about that one.
But adventure's good, too. It was an adventure.
A huge adventure.
Titus, what about you?
Adventure.
What was the question again?
Any last thoughts? Anything about what you liked about it? Something that stuck with you? Quotes? Anything you want to throw out?
I like I like how Reapy Tree wanted to get to Aslan's country at the end.
Yeah, there was a quote that I had from that. There is a way into my country from all the worlds. And then Lucy says, will you tell us how to get into your country? And he says, I shall be telling you all the time. So that kind of means like all the time. Every season, like right now, you guys are older than if your mom had read this to you like 3 years ago, you would not have understood a lot of this. And so
definitely not.
He's telling us all the time. That's just like the Bible. You read it in all the seasons. And see, you have progressed as readers. So now you're not just reading the word, but the meaning underneath the word, which is so good. I'm so proud of you guys. Good job.
Yeah, I think the age limit would be maybe 9 and up. Maybe. I think so. Yeah, 9 and up. Probably. I bet a 9-year-old can handle it. Right?
Well, I've heard this referred to so many times, and that they usually hone in on Eustace trying to get out, get rid of the dragon persona and try to take it off and all that, and how real transformation is very painful. It's very
definitely,
and it's hard. Like if I want to get muscles, I'm gonna actually have to hurt myself. I mean, I'm gonna have to lift, and I'll be sore and all that. It will not. And just like when Pop and I first got married, I didn't know how to cook. So I burned a lot of stuff and he had to eat a lot of stuff, but eventually I got it right. So I think there's that. We need to embrace failure and be okay with failing. Like Titus, What was your first story? Your very first story? Is it as good as the story that you're writing now?
Oh, that is 1,000% no. Yep. I found my first chapter book I ever wrote, and there is no comparison because I can't even read it.
Yeah. And I think that's what you guys were talking about. C.S. Lewis talking. And I mean, it was a habit that he met with Tolkien, and they talked, and I think they both helped. He really wanted C.S. Lewis to put more of the myths in there. I'm actually reading a book C.S. Lewis wrote, and it says, Till We Have Faces, and it's myths. So I think, and it's confusing. I mean, I'm like, what? What's going on? Till we have faces? So I think it's good to read a book that's kind of hard. What about you?
Definitely.
Do you have a takeaway?
I think it's, I like what all you guys said too, but I think just the main takeaway is that we can't do this on our own. Like, I think it's more prevalent in America, the pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You mentioned me as a little kid being independent. I do it myself. And again, that's pride. But our society tries to promote that. Oh, you grind it till you strive, you do it, And I don't think that's not gospel. That's not what I see in the scripture. In the scripture, Jesus is like, give me your burden. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. He does the heavy lifting for us. We just have to trust him, and we have to go to him with everything. But there's something in our mind like, oh, I'll handle this myself. But it's like, no, I want Jesus in every part of my life. Because when there's Jesus, there's hope. And we see that. And I like how in this book, we see his presence in every situation in some form or fashion. It could be through another person. It could be through himself showing up like at the Duffel Pud Island. It could be through like the albatross. there's different ways. And if you're listening, and that's what I love about Lucy, she definitely has a heart she's the best one, I think, about listening for Aslan and looking for him in all situations. And that's what I want to be like.
Good point. Good point. Great.
And that is a wrap on the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Thanks for
Bye.
joining us. By C.S.
Lewis.
And Jonah, I think you're going to sign us out.
Let's connect to reflect.
And we will
Catch you on the next one. Adios, amigos.
See ya.